So, Grandma, a parent told us that their child doesn't like to read. What should they do?
Well, it depends on a lot of things. First things are, how old is the child? So we're assuming that this child is a school age child and is being presented with reading, which means that you haven't done your homework at home. Reading should be an enjoyable process, and it should begin at home with parents or caregivers reading to their children. If they've been doing that all along, then the child has a better idea. So the first thing, if you're starting this from scratch, you take the child with you to the library or the bookstore, and you have them pick out a book or two that they like. And when you do that, then you take that book home and you pick a time in the evening at maybe bedtime or when it's quiet after dinner, when nobody's rushed and the phones and the TV is off, and you sit and you read a short book with the child. And you can talk about the pictures. You can show them the book and say, what made you pick this book? What are the characters? Identify the characters before you read it. Do a lot of pre work before you do it. Then you open. What do you think this book is about? When you look at the cover, oh, okay. Let's see whether that's what you think. And you draw the kid into the book. You don't read at him. You read with him. Okay. So you read a page, and if you look at him and you say, "What do you think about that? What I just said? What do you think he's going to do next?" Okay, and then turn the page. When you see if the child is not interested in whatever and is resistant to it, put it down and just sit and talk to him about his day and come back to it another day. Now, the other thing that you can do with a child to help a child reading is to label the house. Get some 3x5 index cards and a marker, and use your best handwriting using upper and lowercase letters and write the name of the thing, like wall, TV, chair, sofa, table. Just use one room and label everything in the room, and make a second set of cards with the same things, wall, table, or whatever. And that's his set of cards, his or her set of cards. And they will associate. Now, if they don't know, you make a game out of it. How many of these can you identify? And you say, you got 3 chances, and you give them a card that says wall on it. And if they look at this and they look around and they walk over to the card on the wall and say, yeah, that's right. And so you make a game out of it. And then you have a shoebox with a lid on it. And the kid learns to recognize the card, wall, chair, table, stove, whatever it is. He said, that's your word. And you put it in the box. And as the child sees how many cards he has in the box, you start making a thing. My God, your box is getting really large. When you get to 50 cards, we got to do something special or whatever. Now, review those cards in the box at least once or twice a week, and then make it to the point where every day the child reviews the cards in the box. Okay? So reviewing the cards are, you take the cards out of the box and you put it up. If the child knows it, it goes back in the box. If he doesn't know it, it goes outside of the box. When you get 5 cards that are outside of the box, you stop doing it and let that child work on those 5 cards. So it's a game, but it's a game that the child plays and gets some kind of reward, even if it's a Cheerio or a pat on the head. The most important things before we start this reading process is to make sure that the child knows the sounds that each letter in the alphabet makes. And we all know that there are some letters that have different sounds, like the S and the C and the J and the G. Okay? So you go through the alphabet with the child, and if a sound makes 2 sounds, you make sure that they know which 2 sounds there are. That's very important. And you can make a game out of it and the alphabet. So 1, they know the alphabet, they know the sounds that each letter makes If it's more than one sound, they know both sounds that the alphabet makes. Okay, very important. Then you can begin the other things with the sight words and familiar words and starting a word box for them. About this a child learning to read is word recognition. And there's nothing better for word recognition. It's a label a room with labels of what it is: a chair, a table, a TV, a bed, a window, a door, a floor, and 3x5 index cards with the word written out: floor, small f l o o r, the way the child would see it written. And the other thing is label everybody in the house. You know, Nana's name, spell Nana's name out, spell Mom's name out, spell Dad's name out. But get a shoebox with a lid, and that's the child's word box. And you only put a word on a card in that box if the child recognizes that word. Okay? So as you begin, you have a second set of cards for all the labeled things in the house. And you hand the child a card and say, what is this? What word is this? Now, if the child recognizes it immediately and says chair, you say, oh, that's your card, and you put it in your box and put it in his box. If he doesn't, you hand it to him, say, go see if you can find this word. And then he'll walk around the house and around this room, and when he matches it up, and then he said, well, then what is that? And he'll say, oh, it's a chair, or it's the wall. I said, okay, I'm going to come back to that. You put that over there. You do 5 words, cards like that, and when you pick up these 5 cards and you say, okay, you should reintroduce it to him, and he goes straight to the chair, straight to the wall, then those cards are his, and he puts them in the box. And you celebrate, you've got 10 cards in your box. Let's do something, or let's have a scoop of ice cream, or have a cookie or something, but reward him for knowing those words. And occasionally take all the words out of the box and review them. And if some of them he's forgotten, you take them on the outside and put them and reintroduce them. So eventually that child will have a shoebox full of words that he does not have to decode or figure out. Okay? And you can have him pick some of those words out and help him write a story about them. In other words, make him familiar. Don't let him lose the words that he already has acquired. You keep reviewing and adding and reviewing and adding. So that helps the child when he meets words in a book, in a story, that he already recognizes. He doesn't have to figure out how it sounds. Okay? And